Is it? Oh, it's automatic
Where,
translation. Yeah. Um, I am currently in Outer Mongolia in a place called Ulaanbaatar, and we're doing work here over the past 8 days, setting up a new Asian legacy library project at one of the monasteries in the Gobi Desert. So we're almost on the same time zone, which makes it nice for me to be comfortable and not too early in the morning. So thank you for having me, but most importantly, thank you for your questions. And they're very relevant questions as we approach the date for the Vienna program. And I and my wife will be teaching together with Peter and Maria. And we're excited to redo another. Uh, it's now the third year, right? I think it's the third year. Let me think. Second year. Um, and there's so much to do about the Heart Sutra. Um, the history of the Heart Sutra is just incredible. It was taught um, by Lord Buddha. I've been to the location of where he did teach it. It's called Rajgir, and it's described in the Heart Sutra before the actual teaching and who was there and who gave Lord Buddha the land to teach there. And the actual uh, place is a perfect, almost like an outdoor arena where he could speak and he could see the monks in person, but they were lower than he was. And the echo of his voice would just go through the canyon so everyone could hear it. It's like perfect audio. Um, and and so he chose that place to teach it. My feeling is that I went there many years ago and spent 2 days there with one of my teachers at the time. And it's a timeless place. It has such a powerful energy there, uh, which made me want to learn about the Heart Sutra more deeply. Um, and so we, as a an organization, Asian Legacy Library, um, have searched collections for commentaries on the Heart Sutra, and the commentaries now are in our database. Uh, And Geshe Michael Roach in our translation system, along with Venerable Jigme Eli Vanderpass, uh, did the translation over about 9 years in coffee houses all over New York City. And they would sit for 2 or 3 hours. I remember them sitting and they just like, don't disturb us. We're deep into the Heart Sutra translation. Uh, Their primary source for the Heart Sutra uh, is a magnificent commentary by a Tibetan scholar and Lama, um, and he translated from the original Sanskrit commentaries in the lineage of our tradition. Uh, there have been many commentaries written in Sanskrit and other dialects of Sanskrit over the centuries. Uh, and his translation we felt was the best. Um, One thing about the Heart Sutra, when it first arrived in the West into Europe, um, when the British were in India, uh, the interest in Buddhism rose to the occasion, and they thought it was the most mistaken worldview they've ever heard. They were completely astonished that uh, what they considered amoral, um, was the Heart Sutra. Um, Nihilistic. They described it as being completely without ethics. That if things are empty, you can do anything you want. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. You don't have to take any responsibility for your actions. And that was the first essential general opinion of the scholars in the 1800s who came across this in India um, and translated it for the first time into English, Britain, um, German, um, I believe Russian for sure. And I'm not sure how many languages, but that 1800s was the turning point to bring these concepts into what you would say the West from Asia, from Southeast Asia. But indeed, the scholarship got better and better and better, as we know. And for the past, I would say for the past 70 years, a remarkable renaissance of scholars and translators brought it to a high, high peak of understanding, including our translation with Geshe Michael. Uh, and so it is one of the, the five major books of the perfection of wisdom teachings of Lord Buddha. Who wants to say in the chat the other primary book from the Prajnaparamita Perfection of Wisdom collection? Um, Anybody? I don't have access to the chat. Oh yeah, I do have access to the chat. Um, it's the Diamond Cutter Sutra. So the Heart Sutra and the Diamond Cutter Sutra are the seminal essence of understanding dependent origination, and of course, the highest level of Madhyamika Pratsangika emptiness. But it was totally misunderstood until 1960s. And then, of course, explosion happened in Europe and America, and now going back to Asia. It cycles to Asia now. And the renaissance of research and scholarship and practice now is in everyone's minds that are interested in Buddhism. The Heart Sutra is like the universal donor of any direction that Buddhism took. Hinayana, Theravadan, Tibetan, Chinese, everywhere in the world has the Heart Sutra. Every single merchant in China has the Heart Sutra or the Diamond Cutter Sutra in some part of their stores. So it's revered by generations, but not understood, correct? No one understood it, but they knew it had power and they knew it was sacred and they knew it was spoken by directly from Lord Buddha. So that's the setup in the equation of what we're talking about tonight. And I don't know. Do you want me to read the questions? How do you want me to begin the process of discussion? Um,
Спасибо
Anyone?
большое, Джейбило, за такое прекрасное вступление. Меня слышно? Да. Марьяна, а
Okay.
ты можешь перейти на основной канал, чтобы меня переводить?
Okay, let me read the questions. And I understand there are two more from Yulia. So let me get them up here. Um, I like the questions. Thank you for the questions. They're very deep and they may take longer than 48 minutes, 50 minutes, but let's try. Um, This question, I'll go in the right order because I think it's only right that the first questions get answered. Um, you have been studying and teaching Buddhist wisdom for many years. There are many profound teachings and texts within the tradition. Why have you chosen to dedicate a 3-day international intensive to the Heart Sutra for the second year in a row in Vienna? Please come, come. And what makes it special, important to the modern people of today? So that question, it's really universal in the context of the life that the Heart Sutra has had in people's personal life and public life, which was mostly misunderstood. But there was a faith in it that people held onto, which is a beautiful karma, a magnificent karma, but misunderstood in its translation and traditional teaching of it. Um, when we talk about the Heart Sutra, we're talking about, as we always talk about, is the misunderstanding of the perception of your reality, the complete misunderstanding of where things come from. The Heart Sutra um, is a question and answer period with Lord Buddha. So it's a QA. It's a Q&A. It's very interesting. It's almost like a divine play. It is a divine play. The Buddha says zero, nothing, 5 words at the end. But he's communicating telepathically to his senior student, who um, is a very profound, actually, an Arya. He had already accomplished the direct perception of emptiness. Avalokiteshvara is the person who is teaching and directing uh, the transmission of Lord Buddha to a junior monk. And the junior monk is asking questions like, he's just new. He's supposed to be in in the original Heart Sutra, he's supposed to be a novice monk, a beginner monk. But in fact, he was not. He was much more advanced than, but it says the novice monk and Shariputra, his name. He he is disillusioned with life. He has taken the robes. He is a renunciate, and he is wanting clearly to understand the deepest level of understanding emptiness. And so the conversation is with Avalokiteshvara, Shariputra, the novice monk. And of course, Lord Buddha is basically directing the play. He's directing the questions and the answers. And that is the stage of the Heart Sutra. And so your question is relevant because every age, and when we say ancient age of what, 540 BC, maybe he taught it, 516 BC, somewhere we don't know. Uh, you had highly intelligent uh, searchers, people that wanted answers. And Lord Buddha was there to begin the process of teaching it. And he had begun teaching already. So it was an important turning point to go deeper. He thought that the monks and the lay people who attended the class, the lecture, the teaching, the transmission, uh, were ready to hear something much deeper. And so he delivers it through a conversation with his senior monk and, of course, the novice monk. And so what is the nature of reality? Basically, Oshariputra, form is no other than shunyata, emptiness. Oshariputra, emptiness is no other than form. So already the contradiction begins right at the beginning, after the lineage prayer. And um, how confusing. Uh, you know, uh, every aspect of your reality has an emptiness, but also it functions, even though it's an illusion. You can't say that we don't see things. You can't say that we don't hear things. We can't say that we don't smell things. You can't say that we can't taste things. You don't say that we don't think things. Um, and 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 um, and feel things. But at the same time, they are in and of themselves empty of any aspect of independence, um, which gets into this massive deep dive about the nature of reality and um, and the nature of suffering. So, what gets us in the world of suffering? What are the primary creators of karma in our life? Our thoughts, our speech, and of course, our bodies, the actions with our bodies. And this question arises with this young monk saying, you know, how do I understand how I create the causal relationship to my results of my reality? And that's the essence of the Lord Buddha's emptiness teaching of the Heart Sutra. And so, how relevant is it today? It is so relevant more than you can imagine. Um, we are in a time of radical change right now. We're in a time where people are looking for answers. Um, we're seeing results of our karma uh, creating unhappiness, or maybe neutral, not happy, not unhappy, or ecstatically happy, um, all at the same time. But they are always in the flux of wearing out. They are always in the flux of recycling the negative deeds that we do without understanding that they're empty. We are always in a cycle of understanding that karma profoundly is so difficult to understand. And Nagarjuna talks about this. He talks about the time gap. Uh, I just had a tea with the assistant ambassador to Mongolia. He's a friend of mine, and I gave him a commentary as on the Diamond Cutter Sutra. And he's a seeker, and we've had conversations, and he's learning meditation. Um, but at the same time, we talked about the idea that when I yell at my wife, tomorrow, if I yell at her, and she yells back, uh, intuitively she becomes self-existent. It just everything I know about emptiness and dependent origination goes out the window. And for maybe 2 minutes, I see my wife self-existently angry at me. And all I can do is to shut up, but I don't. Well, you said, and she said, you said, and and we're all victims of that. But at the same time, we are reading and studying and practicing and doing our meditation. And there is a difference about how we do respond. The time gap of responding to anger uh, hopefully is shorter for all of us on this call than it was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, this moment, because we know. that the person is just the male delivery person, the female delivery person of something you did in the past. But the world is not like that. We're a culture canceling online society. We are creating negative karma uh, through this magnificent magical thing uh, all the time. I can't even do my social media anymore. It's just so toxic when I see what's on internet social. Um, do I go on and look? Yes. Do I eliminate? Yes. Do I choose? Yes. So the feeds I choose hopefully can help me understand more clearly about the nature of our science now and how Buddhism relates to the nature of our science. Because think, we think Buddhism has this um, almost like a veil of religion around it. But when you understand the Heart Sutra, it is profoundly transcending our label of religion. It is about the quantum of reality. Why we've chosen to be here on this planet, why we are Russian, Ukrainian, Hispanic, Irish, every aspect of our lives is a karma. It's perfect, unequivocal justice. It is perfect. And we don't want to accept it. We don't. So the Buddha is basically trying his best for the benefit of everyone in the audience of that time at Rajgir to get them to get, it's almost like a brainwash. I can't imagine sitting there and hearing for the first time what he said. Nobody, I can't understand it completely yet either, but I have, I have the meditation process to help me because he's trying to make you realize with the Heart Sutra uh, that we can reach the direct perception of emptiness, but we have to understand intellectually and logically through the Heart Sutra. So he's eliminating the barriers to our understanding in the Heart Sutra. But people thought it was nihilistic. What do you mean there's no eyes, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind thinking? Of course there is. But he essentially said uh, all of it is being forced upon you. Everything you see is being forced upon you by your past seeds. Everything you smell, taste, touch, think is all being forced on you because of your past. And that's a hard thing to begin to swallow intellectually, and a hard thing to understand that we own responsibility to ourselves for every action. And I think we do accept it here, but when it's in reality of life, we don't allow ourselves to use it in our world that we do every solid day of the week. We lose the context. We love the intellectual understanding and we want more, but to apply it to business, to raising your kids, to raising, the bar of our relationship improvements with our partners, um, all of the above is so that bridge, uh, when we step on that bridge to go into the application of our contemporary times is rare. And DCIG was invented to give these ideas to apply them to your life, not to keep them in your meditation room or wherever we think about it. So that in and of itself, if we can get it into the world, and it is only in the West less than 100 years, really, then we have a chance to change the culture of our lives, our countries, our communities. We have a chance. And and here you have a seed about the Heart Sutra from 2,500 years ago. And what seed did you plant to hear it, to get confused by it, to maybe get some insight by it, um, to think about it, to recite it, memorizing it. Uh, it's sacred. It's rare. It's equivalent to any philosophical understanding by the Greco-Roman great philosophies, the German great philosophies, the Russian great philosophies. It's right there, with the exception of the aspect of emptiness, with the exception of understanding that you can. There is nothing that is not changeable in our thinking, in our actions, in our speech. The way we evolve as human beings is to understand that emptiness is this extraordinary blank slate of our future. And what Lord Buddha was trying to really say to you and I was like, okay, you're being forced right now to the experience of your life. Are you healthy, unhealthy? Are you happy, unhappy? All the general questions of life. And then you're also being forced to misunderstand how to get out of suffering, how to become more happy. And you're also confused about where you go in the creation of your future and how to create the future that you walk into. So the Heart Sutra covers these subjects. And I do think that even people that are non-Buddhist who are let's take AI in the world that is going to influence everyone on this call. Maybe mildly now, but impactfully profound in the next 5 years. It will change every person's life on a seminal level, a foundation level. And there's fear about it, there's excitement about it, there's we will destroy the planet about it. It's in every spectrum of your life with opinions all over social media. Um, let's apply emptiness to it. How do we understand the emptiness of AI? How do we understand that a singularity at some point in the near future uh, could make your life paradisical from the needs of your survival? Uh, or it could be a robotic nightmare, uh, controlling every aspect of your life. And so this is the conversation, the dual conversation that we're having in the world about AI. And that's to your question, because AI could be remarkably beneficial. AI in ALL now lets you translate into English the original texts. If you highlight them, it'll give you the actual English, and eventually multiple languages, as well as the transliteration, which gives everyone access to the ideas. But the final opinion, in my humble opinion, is you have to have a teacher to uncode the teachings and then how to apply them in your life. A teacher is, in a way, empty as well. It could be your child, it could be your puppy, it could be your great grandfather, it could be anyone, it could be your enemies teaching you. So we're not saying a fixed conceptual teacher, but I think you know who your teachers are if you're on this call. And there are many brilliant teachers that I'm honored to know and to be a part of their lives. Um, so we're here together to talk about the emptiness of the Heart Sutra. Um, another part of the question is, during our previous webinar, we discussed the fact that the Heart Sutra is a very short text, just a few pages, and can be read independently in about 10 minutes. Yeah, but there are 10,000 pages that have spent time translating those 10 minutes, you see, no less than 10,000 pages, because it's coded and it has to be decoded. And the translation by Geshe Michael is one prime example of decoding its meaning. Uh, I suggest you buy that book because I use it for, I'm going to be using it for Vienna, and I'm going to be using another scholar's translation of the Heart Sutra, an older English version by Edward Kanze, very, very brilliant. I think one of the first Europeans to understand the Heart Sutra. Um, and his translation from the Sanskrit and the Tibetan are quite respected. And so um, there's very few people who know how to decode the original teachings of Lord Buddha. Um, you have to have skill sets in languages. You have to understand the commentaries that have been handed down over centuries of study around the Heart Sutra. You have to have the initial uh, discipline and practice. Understanding it here is great, but realizing it is the goal. Realizing it is the goal. Here is great. It'll take you somewhere. But to self-realize it in deep meditation is the whole purpose. Here's a question for you. Was Lord Buddha in the direct perception of emptiness when he was telepathically sending Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra uh, the answers and questions? Yes, he was in the direct perception of emptiness. So if we can get our heads around, our hearts around the idea that it's coming directly from someone in the direct perception of emptiness, an enlightened being, right, who has omniscience and emptiness constantly. I always think that I'm an analog brain, and of course, Lord Buddha is a multidimensional mind that functions simultaneously on different levels for different reasons. So um, that's your answer to that question. It's short, but the the connection to people's minds was so powerful. In Lord Buddha's time, no less than 500 students had the direct perception of emptiness. And they did, when you go to Rajgir where he taught it, just below are the caves where his students went into deep practices for months at a time. You can actually walk into them. You used to be able to walk into them and meditate in them. Uh, Ananda, uh, many of them had the direct perception of emptiness in those caves. So, this is obviously I get excited about it because it changed my life in many ways. I read it constantly and memorized it in Japanese when I was with a Zen master. We recited it together every morning, every single morning. And but we didn't know it. We didn't have the full gauge of the meaning. So I'm going to stick to the questions because we don't, this is a short period here. We have 24 minutes. Um, Here's another
John Brady.
question.
Простите,
Jaybila,
пожалуйста.
Jaybila, I will translate it, Yulia. I will translate Inna, okay, for you.
Oh,
I will translate only for you, Inna, because we have several channels and there is some technical things. happening.
Oh,
So sorry. So
oh,
Ina
not
is
a
the
problem.
host, is a host, and she will be. I will give
So,
a word to her, and
okay,
will translate
Con
for you.
consecutive.
No, just for you. Then it will be simultaneous. When you are speaking, it will be
Simultaneous.
simultaneous. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll go slower. Am I going too fast?
Slower, a little bit
Okay.
slower.
Okay, I'll go slower.
Инночка.
Да, Джон
So,
Брэди, спасибо огромное, что вы так самостоятельно провели уже пол-вебинара. Мы вам очень благодарны.
Thank you very much that you took ownership of this webinar and you already started it very beautifully and did for 30 minutes or more.
thank you.
Примите, пожалуйста, наше поздравление с днем рождения. Давайте все напишем Джейбила, смайлики какие-то пришлем. Спасибо огромное, что вы
We
есть.
want to say happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Very happy birthday from all of us. All these
Uh,
hearts and smiles in chat is for you. Thank
that's so
you that
kind of
you are
you.
here for us.
It's a joy to be with you. I'll show you. I had a big celebration at dinner last night with my staff here in Ulaanbaatar and uh, very dear friends from Germany who are sponsors of ALL. And then the hotel gave me a cake,
Mm.
which I cannot eat because Connie will not be happy.
Beautiful.
So anyway, thank you for having me. And should we go on to the next question?
I will ask Инна. Инночка, что дальше? Спрашивает Джейби.
Давайте перейдем к вопросу от участницы. У нас их несколько.
Let's go to the question from one of the participants because we have several.
Sure.
Вопрос от Александры Заячковской. Я слышала, что вы развили шамат, медитируя дома по несколько часов ежедневно и делая ретриты в выходные.
I have heard that you developed shamatha while living and working in usual world, meditating at home for several hours each day.
При этом, будучи руководителем компании, не уходя с работы. Как этого достичь?
And you did it during weekend, you did weekend retreats, and you continued working as a company executive, and you didn't leave your job. How it was all possible?
У меня ощущение, что ум слишком заняты, проекты, обучение, работа, в медитации борьба, дневник веду, обеды есть.
And I often feel that my mind is simply too busy. This participant is telling us, was busy with projects, with studies, with work, and meditation feels like a struggle. Even though I keep daily journal, maintain my vows, and try to plant seeds for this meditation.
Семена медитации сею.
I plant the seeds for meditation as well.
Посещают мысли бросить часть проекта, уйти с работы. Поделитесь вашим срединным путем.
And sometime I even think about giving up some of my projects or leaving at all my job. And could you please share your middle way, your personal experience, and your
Okay.
probably practical advice about this?
Okay. Yeah. Those are 5 questions. We'll start. We'll start with my personal experiences of gaining, certain levels of shamatha. Shamatha is not attainable if we're not practicing correctly, but it is attainable. The mind is trained to do anything, so don't be discouraged. It's totally possible. I lived in New York for 30 years, and I went there because I had a scholarship to an art school, and I was looking for answers. I tried to, yeah, my family fell apart. My dad died unexpectedly, and my family just went in every direction, and uh, it wasn't good for me. I was, I think, 18 and a half, 19. Um, and it put me on a quest to look for answers. And I found a Japanese master, authentic from a Japan lineage, a Kyoto lineage. And I read a I read meditation books. Now there were maybe three in my time, 1969, 1970. And one was of an American Roshi who went and spent 20 years in Japan. And he opened up meditation for me. It was an incredible book. I still have that book in Sedona. It's been published many times. And I read it twice. And what did I do? I tried finding out where the heck he was. I wanted to study with him. And he was 38 miles from my place of living before I moved to New York. So he was literally in a city an hour away. And I went to a Heart Sutra 3-day retreat, a meditation retreat. And I got hooked. We recited the Heart Sutra. He talked about it. And then he gave us meditation objects to meditate on. And I had been meditating alone, and I felt the community was powerful. And so that was my first taste uh, of the Heart Sutra and of meditation in a deeper level. And then I fast forward, I moved to New York. Um, after being starving artist for 5 years, I got a job. And uh, I drove a taxi cab for a while. My family cut me off financially and said, "You're on your own." Um, I lived in a small apartment with a bathtub in the kitchen. I painted in my studio, and I got a Christmas job to pay the bills, and then I ended up working. I gave up the art. I gave up. I didn't want to be poor anymore. But long story short, I met a Roshi. He's Japanese. He passed away 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 86. He uh, introduced me to meditation. His students introduced me to certain practices, and I stayed there for 15 and a half years. And it became so the community is crucial to have an environment where you can go in and have everything ready for you. And that was the community I had in New York City. I could put my robe on, go get dressed for work. I would take a taxi to the Zendo, which was 20, maybe a half a kilometer from my home. I could sit for 1.5 hours in my robe, get redressed, drive to my office, work until 6, come back, do another meditation from 7 to 9, go home, have dinner with my friends from the community, go home. And that was my life. It was very, very, the karma I had for a conducive setting with a solidly tough but loving teacher in the middle of New York City, the noisiest place. Maybe this is noisier out here now. The traffic is so bad, but it was just a sanctuary, and I spent 15 years with him, and um, so that was a karma that was so remarkable. Um, it became my life in New York. Of course, I knew other people and had interactions with business people, but the essence of the foundation for meditation practice was then. It was in my 30s when I met him. I was 30 and 29, and then became a member of the community. I became a board member of the community. I would donate to the community to sustain a certain level of quality in the buildings. It was a beautiful meditation space, and that was my life. Um, and I loved it. And then I would do Friday night, Saturday, Sunday retreats, 7-day retreats in the monastery in the mountains. I couldn't have asked for a better situation. Uh, and I was happy. Um, and then I, moved on under other karmic ripenings to see and meet Geshe Michael. Uh, and I was kind of shocked when I first met Geshe Michael's students because they would leave the room, you know, trashed. I was like, I can't believe this. Like, they didn't clean up after themselves. They just got up and left. And I was in shock. And I would help the attendant clean up. It's like, you know, they need to learn mindfulness. What's going on here? They're all in their heads. They're not doing the work of being mindful. And I was really like, I'm not sure about this place. So, but the teachings were so powerful, you see. Geshe Michael was 41, 42. Not that he's not powerful now, but it was different. And I slowly went in the direction of Tibetan Buddhism. But shamatha is attainable. But the thing is, if you don't have the discipline, you have to create the seeds for the discipline. It takes work, but it's not work. It's doing the due diligence of sitting 25 minutes a day. Start. You have to reach 50 minutes a day. And you could do it in 2 sessions, morning and evening, or do it in one session. You know, don't don't think that it's unattainable in any means. You can do it. Um, that's part of it. You have to have a meditation practice, and you have to have a teacher that guides you through that. Honestly, um, they don't have to be in the community. You can have a Zoom relationship with your teacher because you have to talk about your practice with somebody. It can't be, you know, it's important that you have at least one or two people to relate to. Culturally, it's a different world. You can't talk to meditate. You can't talk to your family about meditation. Maybe you can now. I don't know. But in my life, my family are like, what are you talking about? So the key being is that it's a new world and meditation is mainstream in the world, everywhere, even here. But it's not all good. It's a messy situation. Um, so choose wisely, but also create your life around it. Create the seeds, and that's a bigger question. How do you create the seeds? Um, but you can design the conducive outer surroundings for your meditation and for your attaining of shamatha. Uh, it's doable. And if I did it, you could do it. You know, I was a confused 30-year-old. I was confused. Uh, and it was, I found a path and it worked. But, you know, it takes, it takes a lot of stubborn, uh, I don't want to say willpower, but you have to be stubborn. You can't let this body and mind fool you. You know, nothing is more important to the world. And I'm being really frank here. If you get on the cushion and just breathe and you can't concentrate, you've given the world something better because you're not creating karma with your mouth and your speech and your body. And even if the mind is spinning you into stories, uh, there's always a point that it comes back and says, oh, I just went on a story. I better get back to the counting the breath. And that's the reality of it because our minds are wandering constantly. We can't stay in the present moment. So that's a short version of what happened to me. But I do believe that, we can do this. And single point of concentration has different flavors and different levels. Great athletes have it. Um, but sitting on the cushion is the greatest courage you'll ever do in your life. Forget about climbing mountains. Go this way. Go inner and see what the workings of your life are all about. Come in. I'm sorry, I'm in a hotel. Oh, hi. Yeah, come on in. You can leave it on the bed. Yeah. I have so much dirty laundry from 3 weeks of travel. Thank you. Uh, and I have to go to Japan tomorrow, so I have to get clean underwear and clean socks. Thank you. Um, but that's a short story, and I think the challenge is how do you create the time? How do you keep your family together? You don't have to sacrifice it, just create the time. You know, I would get up at 4:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock before work. I'd do my practice, get in the car and go to work. Um, and my problem right now is that I don't do a nighttime meditation. I watch the news or I read something or I watch a movie, and it eats away your time if you're not careful. You know, it you want to relax. Oh, I'll just turn on, Netflix and watch something for a half an hour. And then it's an hour and a half later and you're tired and you go to bed. So I'm battling that right now for my night meditation. And that's a battle I'm having every night of the week, especially on the road. You have 14 hours of a day and then you want to relax. But if I get on the cushion, it's beautiful. My mind changes. I'm relaxed. I can go to bed with a different perspective of even my dream states if I do the practice both morning and night.
Дорогой Джон Бреди, спасибо огромное за такой невероятно мощный ответ.
Dear JB, thank you so much for such beautiful and powerful answer.
Мы
Sure.
очень-очень-очень ждем вас в Вене.
We wait for you in Vienna very, very, very much. We wait for you.
У нас уже
I'm
около
so looking forward.
250 участников, которые уже зарегистрировались и
Сколько?
уже в пути, 250.
We have 250 participants that already registered in, and they are already packing their bags.
У нас
Oh,
есть еще
nice.
около 100 мест.
We have around 100 probably tickets available, places
Да, и,
available.
в принципе, еще 3 недели впереди. Надеемся, у нас будет полный зал.
3 weeks ahead, so hopefully the hall will be full.
So we have 100 tickets left.
Yes.
Okay. We have to do
Uh,
some marketing. I help you. I owe you a marketing piece. So I'll get Connie on board and we'll do it together when I hit Japan tomorrow.
Спасибо огромное. Позвольте задать вам последний вопрос, и мы вас отпускаем.
Thank you very much. Can we have a time for the last question, Jabil?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So last
Ну
question.
а всех участников попрошу остаться, потому что у нас будет еще розыгрыш билета на Суперсердце.
And Ina is saying that once you answer, you can be free and go do your stuff. And she asked other people to stay because we will be raffling the tickets actually for the event.
Buy those
Так,
tickets tonight.
вопрос. Если бы вы могли дать студенту только один совет, который действительно изменит его жизнь, какой это совет?
The question, wow, hard one. If you could give a student only one advice that truly can change their life, what would it be?
Yeah. I think the ultimate service to others is clearly a karmic fast track. And being in Mongolia, we have now 3 very, very successful projects running. And I was way out in the Gobi Desert to a monastery 1580 it was founded. And we set up a new project with the state-of-the-art scanners and the, mini Mac that collects the data. And they were just watching us set up the monks, and then yesterday my staff trained them for 5.5 hours how to do the work. And they just, you could see it's so hard to explain the happiness that just poured through their minds because their collection is, they're so proud of their collection. And the books that we're scanning are, some of them will be published for the first time from the abbot's commentaries of that monastery, the history of some of the abbot's work. So we're doing that first. And then I met the abbot for dinner with our our Mongolian translator. And usually it's about money. I hate to say that, but how are you going to support us? Well, we're going to support you by paying people to work. And, I can find projects that you'd like us to help support. You can tell me and I'll think about it. Um, and he said, no, he said, what you're going to do for us is beyond that. Could you publish the books for us? And I said, of course, because other monasteries will bring them to their monasteries because there's certain high lamas that go through the network of monasteries here. Uh, and that will give the monks their own lineages that they belong to from the Mongolian tradition. But that's just one way of serving. Um, and I think what you can do for others in your immediate circle, your family, your friends, your enemies. Enemies are really good to have close because they created seeds in your mind to present themselves to you. You created seeds in your mind to present themselves to you. Difficult people are the best people, you know, to be with. And it's hard to be with people. I had a problem this week with with one of the donors, like a personal problem. Don't tell anybody. But I'm so admiring the success, and I saw my jealousy come up. That's who you want close. You want people that trigger something. And he's one of the most beautiful people I know, but here's my jealousy, like, wow, what you did in life, and I was in a corporate world. I could have gone that route and been, all that, but you created something that helps so many people. And my jealousy was coming up out of my heart. I thought, please stay close to me. And it was so clear that that was the purpose of why I wanted him to be. He supports the project. They support the project, and they're beautiful beings. I love them as friends. And so I looked at my own stuff, and that if people can do that, then it shows you very clearly the work we have to do on ourselves. And it's uncomfortable, and but it's real. And so uh, because when you take care of that in your heart, uh, and you dissolve that, something opens up. It's very magnificent. There's a mind space when you clean that out of you, and you're capable of reaching more people. And but it's work, and it hasn't been. There's the process is the answer. The struggle is the answer. The results, don't worry too much about them. You will get the results, and they will never come into your mind stream the way you already perceive them to be. The generosity will come from a letter with a check for $10,000 saying, we miss you. And it's just the magic of karmic seed planting for future results is probably the most beautiful thing we can do for ourselves. Change the world that way. You're doing it anyway, so we might as well do it consciously. And there's a lot more to say about it.
Невероятная красивое завершение встречи с вами. Мы будем стараться служить другим.
Incredibly beautiful final of this webinar. We will try to serve others.
Спасибо огромное, что в таком плотном графике вы к нам пришли.
Thank you so much that you found time in your full agenda and you came
Come
to
on.
give us
И
webinar.
особая такая огромнейшая благодарность, что вы вообще едете к нам в Европу.
Thank you so much, especially that you are coming in Europe to see us.
Yeah.
Мы невероятно
Can't wait.
благодарны, очень вас ждем. И
We're
уже
so
скорой
grateful. We
встречи.
really wait for you and looking forward to our meeting together.
Yeah. And, you know, a good Indian restaurant in our one night with you and I and the team.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good to see you all. And keep going, you know. Yeah. Don't stop.
We will, Davila. We will. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.